Hey, what's up, everybody? It's late. It's late. Late at night, time to draw. So I got this Hellboy to work on. I'm going to try to get this done in about 90 minutes, under 2 hours. Let's see if we can. Might take up to 2, but I'm going to try to get it done in 90 minutes. But I'm also not going to rush through it. So that's the goal. We'll see if Rob can live up to it. Chat room is open. I'm going to get to work. Grab my ink. Nope. Hey, you got the notification. YouTube works. Yeah, it's a Hellboy. Let's see here. Thanks, John. Sorry, getting over a cold. Yeah, they make red mechanical lead. Pentel. Pentel makes it. That's what I use. Pretty cheap. There's a specific reason. There you go. 1 second, guys. I just regular lead. It's softer one, so it keeps me from pressing too hard because it breaks pretty easy. Two, it just blends better with my color. I don't know. When I'm inking over it, it's easier to see the difference between the red and ink versus tonal pencil and black ink. Does that make sense? Yeah. Light blue. Huh. Yeah, I've always used red. Later, John. What I prefer to get from writers? Uh, I like the Marvel method. I like just bullet points. You know, like you can just describe what's kind of going on quickly in a panel. You know, I don't like a ton of specific direct. I don't like some people do like a lot of writers, man. They do these crazy like movie scripts, you know, where they're breaking down in this panel and jumps. Just describe kind of what needs to happen. It's called the Marvel method, right? The old Stan Lee way. It's what Capullo likes to use, you know. It just leaves a lot of room for artistic interpretation. You know, if you as a writer have a specific focal point, just say, hey, this is like the most important thing. Just so you know that, you know, the artist makes something out of that. You know, they know what the focal point. They kind of, it's not always just like, you know, expressions, soul or you know, poses or anything. When I'm personally writing for myself, I write in outline. I mean bullet points, and I just then I sort of work the dialogue in after I kind of sketch everything out based on how much room I have. So at least that's how I did it and how I'm working out my stuff now. So nothing worse than spending all your time writing things that there's no room for an artist to draw, either through time or just the limits of what you can fit on a page, you know? But I know like when I was on Monstroids, you know, Kevin used to give me these pretty movie they give me the movie. I mean generally just panel 1, panel 2, panel 4. He'd give me these movie like scripts, you know, and he'd be like, and this character's doing that, and this character's doing that. I'm like, there's no room in one panel for all that stuff. And you can't, not every panel can be 6 characters, you know? So it's like, but at the end of the day, man, like I hate to say it, it's really the editors you have to make happy more than the artists. Sad to say, these days I rarely speak to the you know, like, well, I don't draw hooks for anybody anymore, but I did a year ago, you know, did some Skylander stuff, and just to see if I was like, well, maybe I'll, you know, I didn't like it. I got these scripts, and I never once spoke to the writer, you know. I think Ron Mars wrote them. They were fine, you know. But I never spoke to Ron. I mean, it was the editor I was working with, so I imagine Ron worked with the editor too. So, you know, the editor's happy, then it doesn't really matter. So you could, you know, write whatever the artist wants, but if the editor wants to see something more concrete, then that's just the way it is. What was the person you were talking about? The guy, Kyle, who was on the stream earlier? Hey, I appreciate it, Book. Working on it. Working on it. Yeah, we're gonna be doing a Hellboy. Hellboy. Yeah, I've thought about it. I'll get around to it sometime this year. They finally made it so you can save your streams to YouTube. So what I'm not going to do is turn it into a contest stream where you're sitting there like, vote what you want me to draw next. Like I'm not, you know. For me, the goal wasn't to become some big streamer. It was to be able to save these real-time videos. 'Cause I kept forgetting what the hell it was I was doing. So, I have. I've said it on a few, man. You know. So, but I wanted to be able to save the videos I have to upload. The same thing I just recorded. I have a SketchCraft Twitch page. I mean, I made it years ago. It's sitting there. But it's not going to, I don't think it's going to add a gazillion people. So it'll just be another audience. It'll be cool, but it's one extra thing right now. So sometime this year. Probably when I'm like working on gaming characters. You know what I'm saying? Like I draw dark ciders, and that makes more sense, you know? Yeah. You know, Eric. Eric's been drawing comics since what, the late '80s or early '90s. So he's a fantastic illustrator. I mean, he's a following, you know. So he's gonna be big no matter where he's at. I've been following him since the Wildstorm days. Why is it not? This is so weird. Yeah. Nice. It's awesome. Well, I get it. Talking slows things down, guys. Like, when I've worked in art departments, you're not allowed to talk because artists will sit there shooting the shit and nothing will get done. Things slows down. So, when I'm working on more complicated pieces, I'll turn the chat off, just because I have to focus. And if people ask, I'll be like, I'll go on and say, guys, I'm not being able to chat right now, just too busy. But these commissions, they might add an extra hour to my time than normal, but I mean, if I got to talk sometime, and it's hard. It's hard to draw and talk, you know. It takes a lot of practice to build up that mental muscle. Yeah. Yeah, voiceover. Do it after the fact. But I've been doing the streaming thing since 2010 or 11, around there, on live stream originally. So moved over to YouTube when I wanted to be able to save the videos. In HD. Um, Oh, I think Eric has got his. I mean, he's been a pro a long time, right? Yeah. So it's my little way to give back, you know? It's my little way to pay it forward. More than me saying, here's how I think you should do it. You know, it's more like, well, here's what I did. Uncut, unfiltered, you know. You're welcome to own it. Yeah. Hellboy. What's going on? This is annoying the fudge out of me. Give me a second. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's glassine. Get a roll of it for like $10 on Amazon. No, it's glassine. It's called glassine. It's got a this waxy side and this non-sticky side that won't smudge stuff. Do I draw with music? Sometimes I have something on in my... I have a separate earpiece. Sometimes I put on music, usually vocal stuff, like just soundscape stuff. Just depends on what tempo I need, you know. I try to make sure I don't have anything too fast so I'm not tearing through shit. Unless I have to. Mostly listen to audiobooks and podcasts and stuff. I listen to music when I clean, not when I draw too much. I like to learn stuff while I'm stuck here for hours. Thanks, Francisco. I appreciate that. Thank you. You are welcome. Draw mostly in the ink, right? As you go. Great. Come on. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's, yeah, I do the rough digitally with the silhouette, and then I draw over the silhouette details, and then print it out and finish the drawing with the pencil. So I kind of like sketching the details and kind of complete it with the ink. So it's kind of half drawn, half inked. And the more ink I'll add, the less. Like if I need a lot of color on something, I'll just keep it kind of minimal, you know. So you can see like these packs, I just block them in silhouette, put a little grid line so I can see where I want the center to be, and then I'll add all the details on the page. So I'm not doing things 3 or 4 times over and over, you know. Depends if you like the feel. You know? You can practice on whatever paper. The feel of the paper is just, up to you. I drew on laser paper all the time when I was a kid, and even in college, because I worked at a Kinko's or a copy center. No, this is B marker paper. BEE. There's a list of my supplies in the info box. So, I use it because it's super smooth, it has some weight, and it takes Copics alright. So, if I want to use Copics or do a little Copic base, it doesn't absorb the shit out of it. So, when I do just regular drawing with inks, I draw on like 67-pound card stock from Staples. It's really toothy, which I like. But with this, I'm using this sienna ink, so it mixes with color really nicely, versus just inking in black. You want to print on it? Yeah, you can print on anything. You put it in a printer, an inkjet printer, cardstock, whatever. Just don't like light boarding. Only time I do any kind of thing is I do a little bit of projection when I have to put stuff on sketch covers. Or when I'm drawing at cons, I can do small sketches and then project them onto paper in my room. So I can work out the pose really small and then blow it up and project it onto paper. That's all really Photoshop is doing, is sort of, the printing out's recreating that process without having to manually trace it. Move that out the way. Is this a specific nib? It's well, I use a nib because of this ink. Otherwise, I would just use Copic multi-liners because it's, it's just faster. This is a Delator manga nib. It's called a manga nib, super sharp. So it's like kind of scratch boardy. Similar to drawing with the rapidograph. I said I just do a lot of technical lines. When I draw on the rougher paper with the multi-liners, it has the same scratch to it, so it compensates. So I'm constantly getting the same feel. I'll add black inks, and you'll see as I build this up. So I do use a Sharpie pen. I use the Sharpie Fine Line. It's cheap. Well, it's good to learn how to control unlimited colors digitally by practicing with traditional colors. You know. Plus, like I said, you sell the art. I mean, these are just commissions. It's pretty late over there. Yeah, it's 3:39, but I work nights. Always have, so. believe you streamed earlier. I was streaming yesterday, and then earlier today. Yes, I am. And there'll be daily progress updates as soon as I get these stupid commissions done. So, I'm working on all. I have an hour a day right now, and then in about 2 weeks, I'll be able to. Power prints is for Game Cave, so the power prints time is just Game Cave art either for this issue or for future issues. So all that stuff will end up in there. Once I'm done with that, then what I'm going to do is cut my freelance way down, make Game Cave my sole thing, and take weekends off to just use for freelance so I can focus on just making comics for the next 5 years, you know? So, yeah. I just had to have a long conversation with myself about like what do I want to do? I want to do professional comics again because I have some offers, or do I just want to do my own comics? And I just don't get any love. I don't get any warm feels working on major comics. I mean, so I'd rather just do my own thing. In order for that to happen, I have to adjust a few things. But GameCube will always incorporate. How do I say it? It'll always incorporate art, So if since it has game reviews and stuff, so there'll be fan art, and then I'll do like one commission a week or something like that. I've been just doing this for about 2 years now. But I had such a bad experience drawing comics for 4 or 5 years that took a long time to come back around to like finding an interesting way to do it, you know. the real world. It's different for everybody, man. There's no one way, you know. I wish there were, you know. There's things you can do to, you know, mitigate damage, but some people just have a really easy time of it. Other people don't. Mine's always been mixed. I've been able to achieve a lot of my personal goals in life concerning art, but then, you know, weird tragedy occurs, like the recession wiping out. Like, I always wanted to work for a game magazine as an artist, which doesn't exist, man. And I made that happen. Except, you know, it happened right as the entire world went into a recession and they invented digital iPads and they eliminated magazines, dude. Like, what luck, you know? Like, it's comical, right? It's like if you always dreamed of being working on Wall Street, and then, you know, the first day you show up, it's like Black Friday and the fucking Great Depression hit, you know? So it was just like, and then surviving that, and then, so my first real job in like full-time work in art was working on t-shirts. You know, so then I go back to t-shirts, but what happened while I was gone? Well, you know, Amazon, eBay, bootleg t-shirts came out, and so all these t-shirt companies got gobbled up, and they're owned by like 3 companies, and they kind of work together. And, you know, it's just retail took a giant hit, so I was able to get back into it, but it didn't pay as well, you know, and so then I was like, well, I'll use Kickstarters to kind of make up the difference. And I did this one Kickstarter, and Marvel didn't like it and complained to my employer about it, and I got fucking fired and blacklisted, basically. You know? So then I'm like, well, now what, you know? Because I had student loans to pay off. And then both my parents died within a year of one another, coincidentally. It really was. My father had a stroke on Christmas, and then a year later on Christmas, my mom had a heart attack in her sleep. And between what little inheritance I had between them, I was able to pay off my student loans. And I've been out here, like, sort of grinding, you know, on the internet. I mean, there's other stories, dude. There's a business partner I had once that was helping me with the Kickstarters, a long-time friend of mine who stole all my money. And I had to fucking ship all the Kickstarters myself. You know, so this goes on and on, man. That's why Game Cave took so long, because that was part of that. You know, in Game Cave I refused the refund because I don't have the $13,000 to fucking cover it. I have the money. It's gonna cost me 8 or 9. That I have to ship it, which is fine. You know. So everyone's like, "Why is it taking so long?" I'm like, "Because I've had to undo this giant fucking knot." All these things just sort of occurred back to back. Oh, it's working out, dude. You know, like, I'm really good at long-term stuff, you know, like I'm over here knocking things out, you know. So people are like, "Oh, when's it going to happen?" I'm like, it's all getting done, guys, you know. Just bear with me. You know, what I won't do is make the same fucking mistakes twice, you know, like, so So rather than getting a regular job somewhere on the weekends, I was like, well, I'll just take up freelance again, see if I enjoy it. If I don't enjoy it, yeah, but I don't have enough I mean, a monthly bill, I'd make $100. I can do 3 times that. You know, I don't like things being available all the time, man. You know, I know some artists make $6 grand on Patreon. It's not. I'm not gonna do that. You see, here's the thing, man. Everywhere I go, I'm this what they call the hidden gem. They used to call me the secret weapon in college. In art classes in high school, I was the shadow. That's what they called me. I'm the guy in the back that you never. Every art department I ever worked with, I was the guy that fucking helped get everything done, but I would never get credit for it, no matter what. Every time I do freelance, I have a hard time getting my name credited. I just did a cover for Game Informer, you know, and like it's very hard to find out how I did that or who did it, you know. So, and Patreon just means I got to make more stuff right now. So, and I don't like saying support my Patreon. So I don't like it. I don't like it. So I like to open things up, do a run of something, close it, get it complete, take a break, come back. That's it. I did too many stretch goals last fucking power prints. So I was a little too ambitious with what I wanted to do. But I was so interested in trying to change my art portfolio, I didn't really think about what I was doing. So it's a mistake. I will never add that many fucking bonuses ever again. So it's taken me a year to finish all this shit. Plus, you know, my mom died, which I didn't think that was going to happen. And then we had to move from California. So, and right now, we're looking at buying a home, which could add another fucking month of nonsense to my schedule. But it's all getting done. But no, I'm not going to jump on a Patreon. Yeah, I figure if you want to do something, there's no get rich quick. There's no one thing, you know. If you should do something because you're really into it. Otherwise, you know. And I know a lot of people that follow me appreciate that I'm not always mentioning Patreon. You know, I get a lot of people going, man, thank God. That's all I fucking hear. 2 hour mark, almost done. So, whatever. This nib eats a little bit more time into the process as well. Gotta draw the gun. Yeah, no problem, man. I'm pretty easy to talk to. I don't hide much, you know. Okay. annoying. Line art commission? Probably half, so I do 90 for the full color, so half that. Take half the time. What is... Maybe it's just getting thicker. Maybe that's it. That's probably it. Sometimes the ink gets a little too viscose. What's the word? Viscose. All right. That's done. Alrighty. Do, do. Zoom out a little bit. Grab my pen. Am I gonna sleep or work? I'm gonna continue to work on this. I gotta do some red shade, and then I'm gonna go take a break, and then come back and work on this for a little bit. I gotta get the black inks, the shade done. Oh yeah, this ain't done, man. I don't sleep till 7. I don't really stop till 7. And I go to sleep at 8, so 4:21. I got a ways to go. I'm supposed to work on freelance, but I'm just not warmed up enough to do that right now. So I'll work on stuff until 7, and then I have some packing and shipping I gotta do because some people bought some stuff while I was taking care of family matters, and I'm behind shipping. So. I normally stop at the 2 hour mark and take a walking break. My feet are starting to puff up, but I'm so close to just finishing this part of it that it'd be just easier to finish this and then go take my break and then come back and do a new stream where I work on the next part. Yeah, I try to make sure I'm walking really every hour, but I just I just forgot tonight, even though I've been doing it for consistently for every hour or at the latest every 2 hours, but I just forgot about it. And it's just to be on my feet, you know, for about 15 minutes. So I usually clean the kitchen in small bursts, so I don't have to do everything, any one thing. I'll clean and pick up while I'm doing it. So that way things are getting done around here, but I don't have to make large blocks of time to do it. Yeah, that way, you're not like, oh, I got to make an hour to clean right before something happens. The problem is I like to block in time for big blocks of time for things, and very few of them, like 2 blocks. I worked on this when I was in high school. We had this thing called a block schedule. So I had 3 classes a day, and I'd make one class art related, or like film or PE, something non-studying, something more technical or leisurely or creative or whatever. And then I had these 2 classes which I would devote towards academics. So I try to run my personal life the same way. And then during those blocks, you need to get up and move around because I'm sitting the whole fucking time. So I use that time to do things like, you know, things around the house, things like that, trash, folding up things, picking up around the room, you know. As long as it isn't like, it doesn't require a lot of mental work. So like packing and shipping things, that's not a good thing to do during that time because sometimes those fucking addresses don't work out or you're digging out prints and then you've eaten up 15 minutes of your time. So I try to make it for small, short bursts of little things. So I'm not sitting there going, oh, I got to make sure I clean before my friends come over, my wife comes home or something like, because that'll be the fucking day, man, when, like shit happened and I couldn't do it. Like, and it's this perpetual cycle. Besides passing period. When I first started high school, I had 7 classes, and I just couldn't deal with it. And then by the beginning of my junior year, they switched over to this block schedule, so I had really just 3, and they were longer. And I've always done well with that formula. So I have 3 blocks of time. I have a personal block when I wake up that allows for working on Game Cave, writing specifically, and if I need to run errands that require me to leave the house, like let's say I got to go to the grocery store, and I have a 15-minute window to pick up around the kitchen while I eat. So I can eat breakfast, but I have to eat it standing up, and I'm going to pick up while but that's it. It's not a long cleaning period. And then I have a specific time I want to start working on Game Cave. So I work on Game Cave, and then if I don't have to run errands, if I do have to run errands, then I don't write that day, or I try to write like in between things, But usually, it's not every day I have to do errands like this. So. And then my first block, what I call block 1, is it starts 8 or 9 and goes to midnight or so, somewhere around there, and midnight or 1. I got it all down. I don't memorize the times. And then I got block 2, which is after that. So it's like a 5-hour block and then a 3-hour block. That's how it works out. And that 3-hour block is for freelance. So, oh yeah, I do have warm-up period, and that's between 8 and 9. So that allows me to do podcasts if we're going to do a verbal podcast, or to work on commissions. But those are like normal commissions, not like this fucking nonsense, which I took to pay for the fucking trip to Amazing Con, because Amazing Phoenix Con wasn't. Amazing Vegas Con was not so amazing. Financially it was kind of a wash. So it happens. Some years you do really good, other years it's like, But I can always cover it with commissions. I was supposed to be way further ahead on this stuff, but then I got the family thing, and then I got sick, and so nothing got done this week. Nothing. There's no way around it, man. You have to. And it needs to be a responsible one. So, realistic time. I really, my goal is to move that 3-hour block to just commissions. And if I'm not doing commissions, then it's freelance, vice versa. So. Well, productivity can be a few things, man. It could be you don't really have a process to work. You know, maybe you're just like, you know, I mean, when you're just kind of starting out, man, it could be like one of those things where you're just, sometimes you draw something really cool, sometimes you don't. I mean, I have a process, I have a formula, a method, you know, that even if I fucking don't want to do anything, it achieves a result, you know. I just have to sit there and do it slowly, but it gets done. But that takes years, you know, and you have to get past a lot of the entry level stuff, you know. Like, I don't have to worry about construction or perspective or form or, you know, anatomy for the most part. So, my biggest issue these days is just, did I get the reference right? Did I put that fucking one detail where it needs to be? Because some fan out there is going to be like, you forgot his, you know, that nonsense. I mean, I don't think it's nonsense. It's good, because I would have been that guy who was like, you forgot that thing. So, but shit like that is the thing that eats up most of the time. Just like, did I get the right? Did I put the like? Is that the right hand he's supposed to have the fist on? Because I don't remember that shit. You know, I always get like Superman and Wonder Woman's boot design mixed up. I'm like, I don't fucking remember. You know, to go and look at it. What was the boot design? So. Alrighty. So pretty simple. It's ready for black lines, inks, whatever. So I'm gonna go take a break, and then I'll come back and work on this for a couple more hours. Get this shit going. But it's getting done, right? It's getting done. We're moving along now. Little coughing. I mute the mic when I cough. 1 second. Right there. That was a mute. All right, man. I'll be back soon, real soon, folks, when we can push this fucking forward and get this working. I did do a quick little color test. You can kind of see, you know, a little bit, just kind of working out how I'll lay down some of the base Copics with then doing the color pencil thing. And this was some tests, color background colors, but I'm not going to do any one of these things for the background. So, and then look, I wrote down the order in which I use things because I don't remember. So, whatever. So I practice everything, you know. So I will be back on in a hot minute, folks. Peace. Thanks for hanging out. Book, Psycho, everyone. Really appreciate it. Be back soon.